Hello everyone, welcome to the Jewish Week Online. We're here at the Dror Foundation's event in New York City at Balmer Lanes. Established in 2005, the Dror Foundation helps wounded IDF soldiers. Each year there are 1,000 soldiers that are wounded in battle, and many times they can't afford care. The Dror Foundation is there to help those in need. Let's take a closer look.
For the first time, after a long while, they feel good about themselves. Today, more and more wounded soldiers ask for our help and need our groin.
אני פה תומך בשלומי, כבן שלי אלוף משנה שלומי דהן. נפגע באזור רצועת עזה בסיבות מבצעיות. כאשר אנחנו נתחיל עם השיפוץ לקראת קליטתו של שלומי בבית. ואז אנחנו נצטרך ציודים משוכללים או עזרה או מטפלים יותר מקצועיים.
הייתי בצבא 3 שנים, נלחמתי שתי מבצעים ומלחמות קלים בעשור האחרון.
מה אתה זוכר מהפציעה עצמה?
כמה זמן אתה ישב באשפוז יום?
כל זמן שהתחילו לעזור לי להמשיך לקיים את החיים, להמשיך לחיות ולהמשיך לעבוד.
This foundation was created by wounded soldiers for other wounded soldiers because we know where the help is needed the most.
So this is a really fantastic event. Tell us a little bit about your organization.
Sure. Dror for the Wounded, we raise money for and support wounded soldiers in financial need in Israel, and we provide direct funding to wounded soldiers for the services which they require, either that the government doesn't fund or will only partly fund. And we were founded in 2005 by Dror Dagan. Dror was severely wounded in 2004 on a mission to apprehend a terrorist leader, and he went through a very long and difficult recovery process, and he had a lot of challenges, specifically bureaucracy and with the government. So during his recovery process and period, he made a vow that he would do something so that other wounded soldiers wouldn't face the same challenges that he went through, and thus he founded this amazing organization in 2005.
You know, during these times, it's very difficult for the IDF. Most recently with the flotilla, and obviously there are a lot of injuries that came with that unfortunate situation. Tell us a little bit about what your organization is doing with those type of situations.
Right. Well, last week the Israel Defense Forces was sent on a mission off the Gaza coast, and a number of soldiers unfortunately were wounded during that incident. Our soldier advocates who work for us in Israel, they represent us in Israel, and their job is to find wounded soldiers in need of assistance and work one-on-one with each individual throughout the entire process, from the time of their injury till whenever really they need our help. So our soldier advocates already, a few days after this incident, met already with the wounded soldiers in the hospital, explained to them the work that we do, and now these wounded soldiers know that if and when they need assistance, they have somebody to turn to, and this is really the way we always operate. We find the wounded soldiers, and we work with them one-on-one throughout the process, and there's really no other organization that does the work that we do in the specific way that we do it.
And it's so important, to think about, we depend on the IDF to protect the state of Israel, and a lot of times when there are situations like the flotilla and other operations, people do get hurt, unfortunately, and sometimes, to a point where it's in dire circumstances, where life is, really on the line, and, sometimes you can't afford medical care because it's bureaucracy, and it's scary to think that, we put our trust in the IDF, and now they need our help. Mm-hmm. What type of things has Dror done, besides this incredible young leadership event?
Well, we have events, fundraising events, every 2 months or so to raise money for wounded soldiers. Our events, as of now, we're based in the U.S. and in New York. However, we do want to expand and branch out to other areas. All of our events, we get a really great crowd, very wide range of people and supporters. We get mostly, let's say, we'll call them young leaders, but then you'll see people in college, you'll see people who are retired. we're an organization that supports wounded soldiers, and therefore we bring everyone. It's such a great cause that it just attracts everyone to our events.
You know, in this event, you know, a bowling event is a wonderful experience to bring people together. You know, when you're, you know, having fun and raising money for a good cause, it really is. It brings, you know, a lot of people together, and you've done a really fabulous job and really bringing different people together, having a good time, and raising money for an amazing cause. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So this organization does a lot of different things, and as one of the founders of this organization, tell us about how you got this started.
Well, about 5 or 6 years ago, I was living in London, and a friend of mine was good friends with Dror's family. So we went to Israel together, and he introduced me to Dror's family. And I met Dror, and I heard his story. And at that time, Dror was helping soldiers in Israel in a kind of informal way. And what we decided is we could set up an organization formally in the United States and get Americans and also other people involved to help wounded soldiers in Israel.
And you know, there's so much happening in the world now, especially with the flotilla. You know, your organization really is at the forefront in helping those in need. Talk a little about how it's affecting, you know, soldiers right now.
Yeah, I think the good thing about Dror for the Wounded is that you see things with the flotilla, and you want to contribute and really help the guys that are going through a lot. Our foundation focuses directly on the guys that would be injured in the flotilla. We'll contact the families, the soldiers directly after this incident, find them, and make sure that when they need our help, we'll be there. Whether it's navigating the legal system, making sure they get what they need from the government, or a year or two from now, making sure that they get the physical therapy that they need that maybe the government is not giving them.
And it's an ongoing situation. It's like once you know, have an injury, it doesn't just end there. There's years of recovery, and you know, your organization is there. And I think that's one of the most important things, where you're there through the whole process.
Yeah, we've had relationships with soldiers. I mean, this organization started about 5 years ago. We've had relationships with soldiers for about 5 years. One recent soldier was probably the most severely wounded soldier in the Lebanon War. His name's Yonatan Levine. We had been helping for about 2.5 years. He was in a coma. We gave his family money, $1,000 a month, and it was somewhat controversial. People thought that maybe it wasn't the appropriate use because he was in a coma and it wasn't clear he was ever going to come out. But actually, I was just in Israel a couple months ago, and he is now communicating again with his family. And this is a 5-year relationship. So
it's really heartwarming, and it's essential, because the IDF is there for us, and now we have to be there for them during their time. So, you know, congratulations on a fantastic event and helping those in need.
thank you.
As you can see, the Dror Foundation does an amazing job in helping the IDF soldiers in need. This is Aaron Herman, and thank you for watching.